Welcome, everybody, back to Friar Talk. Today, we're going to be going over this Guardian series, talking about the Tampa Bay Rays matchup this weekend, which should be a very exciting series where Padres are basically throwing their best three arms. We get to see an insane matchup tonight, and then we get to see Blake Snell's kind of return against the Rays, his former team. So, really, really exciting series coming up this weekend. But, this past week, first kind of test of this 6-game stretch that's decently difficult. I guess you could say it's a 10-game stretch that's pretty important just because you're going against the Guardians, who many expected to be a playoff team heading into the season. They were hot coming into that series. Padres take 2 of 3. Then you got the Rays this next 3 games, and then you got the Giants for a 4-game series right after they're coming off of a 3-game series against the Dodgers. So a lot of important baseball right now for the Padres. We want to see them kind of heat up before the All-Star break, before the trade deadline, and kind of see where this team's at, because right now they're a couple games out of the wild card, and it has been roughly disappointing for this, pretty disappointing for this duration of the season so far. However, the lineup's starting to look a lot better. They're starting to heat up a decent amount, and in the Guardian series, they ended up losing that 3rd game. But you can kind of point the finger at one guy for not ending this series in a sweep. So, what did you guys feel overall about this Guardian series? What were the biggest takeaways?
All right. So yeah, I thought the Padres looked really good offensively. I mean, they put up a lot of runs in this last game that they unfortunately lost due to an unfortunate start for Ryan Weathers. He only went 1 2/3, second time in 3 starts that he's went 1 2/3, and we'll talk about him a little later. But offense looked good. Michael Walker looked good again. Padres were able to take 2 of 3 from the Guardians, and that was kind of the goal. I think coming into this homestand, I had said, hopefully the Padres can go 4-2 against the Guardians and the Rays, and they're on the right track so far. We're recording this video the night of the first game against the Rays. It's going to be McClanahan versus Darvish. That's going to be a good one. Hoping to take 2 or 3 from the Rays. But from this series, I thought the offense looked good. Fernando's keeping up his hot streak in June, where he's looking like one of the top 3 players in baseball, the best defensive at least right fielder in all of baseball right now. He's just doing things on the field that we know Fernando's been capable of doing, and everyone's seeing it again. Everyone's seeing that he is, even without steroids or whatever people thought it was, he is still one of the best players in baseball, and he's probably got the most swag and might be the most entertaining player in baseball outside of Shohei Ohtani. But Juan Soto had himself an okay series. Manny Machado, back-to-back nights where he goes deep. He's starting to heat up again. He's over in 1,000 OPS in his last 7 games, if not close. Really, the only struggles I can think of in the lineup right now are Matt Carpenter, obviously Austin Nola. That's a given. Trent Grisham also. There's something weird going on with Trent Grisham, man. I mean, I look at his baseball savant and I don't get it. It's like his expected batting average it's low, but he's barreling. He's in the 95th percentile on barrels. And there's quite a few balls that should have been that would have been home runs in other parks. So it's like, does he suck? Is he unlucky? Is it both? I mean, I don't know. There's quite a few questions there, but I thought the Padres have looked great recently. They've won 7 of their last 10, and really the only reason, I mean, they were a good start away from a sweep. So overall, it's looking up for the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned it, we have like a couple of holes in the lineup still. I think, we could at the trade deadline definitely need to get an upgrade at DH. You have Gary Sanchez at catcher, so you kind of fill that hole. And even then you have Luis Campusano coming back eventually. And, maybe you platoon one of those guys into being a DH, but at the same time, I think, Campy doesn't have any proven at the MLB level yet. So come to catching and you stick Gary at DH, that could work, but still think you need another lefty bat off the bench that can do something. And Matt Carpenter isn't that guy. Trent Grisham, yeah, you strike out a lot, but your expected batting average is also one of the worst. I haven't seen anything like that before. I was looking on it at Twitter today, like the Baseball Savant page. Their theory is like maybe he needs to pull the ball more. A lot of his deep barrel going to the deepest part of the park and just not getting out. So, hey, if he pulls the ball a little bit more or waits on it a little bit longer and takes it the opposite way, maybe he'll see some more success. But as of right now, it's just not helping the team out. I mean, if someone's on third when he does it, it's a sad, but when he's just up another. So um outside of like, yeah, Ryan Weathers was definitely needing to go down. You can't have a fifth starter that can't go more than 3 innings. You're not going to be a great team. You're not going to make it to the playoffs with your fifth starter can't go more than 3 innings. And hopefully, I know Lugo threw a sim game and he went 3 innings the other night. So it looks like he's about to come back. You could have thrown Martinez in there. You could have given a couple guys from AAA, AA chance. I know Jackson Wolf has had himself a really solid season. We were talking about it before we started recording. Like, all right, who could possibly replace Ryan Weathers if, let's say, Seth Lugo goes down again? You got to give guys in the minor leagues a shot. There's a couple of guys having some pretty good seasons out there. I know we got a couple college arms, a couple guys that need to make their way through the system, like Adam Muzar and Snelling. They have been on fire. Hopefully they get promoted to higher baseball because they're kind of dominating in the area that they are in. And the better development they get faster will kind of help us if we want to extend people, hey, you know what? Let's send these guys to the minors on a little bit of an accelerated program. That way we have some rookie pitchers on rookie contracts and we can spend some money somewhere else.
Yeah, and I feel like right now, I mean, it's typically been like question marks about the lineup, and this is like the first time in a long time when we're talking about something else, just because Weathers has struggled a lot, and the Padres have good pitching outside of that. I mean, their pitching was the best in the National League or the best in the league in the month of May, yet the offense struggled. Now the offense is kind of getting it going. You're seeing Ryan Weathers, he gets optioned today. Definitely, I don't think we're going to see him for a while. He needs to work on some stuff. I don't know if he's going to go to AA or AAA or anything like that, or they kind of do something similar to what the Blue Jays did with Alex Manoah, and they have him sent down and kind of like work on his stuff in the actual minor league system. Kind of similar to what happened to Mackenzie Gore a couple years back. I think that play makes the most sense because he has shown that his fastball is just not effective at the big league level. Like, it is so bad. He's just throwing high fastballs, and they are just getting hit after hit after hit. Like, yesterday, he only got 5 guys out. He didn't walk anyone. He allowed 6 runs. He allowed 7 hits, and he got 5 guys out. That is really bad. And like, he started out pretty decent this year, and then everyone kind of figured him out. They're like, okay, we got him. And it's become to the point where he was unpitchable. And that's what we saw this last outing. So overall, I mean, I feel like that's been like the biggest takeaway of this series, outside of the fact that the offense is kind of getting it going a little bit. Manny's heating up, Tatis is heating up. Soto didn't have himself a great series by any means, but he, I mean, like yesterday, for instance, he walked 3 times and got a hit. Like, he got on base 4 times. So it's not like he's just like struggling or slumping or anything like that, but he hasn't really been like destroying the baseball where we've seen Tatis absolutely carry at times. They basically just pitched around Tatis. We might see some of that this weekend because like, he's that hot right now. And now Manny's heating up. Manny had a big game yesterday. Had the 3-run shot, and he had a home run. He had 2 home runs this series. So like, all of a sudden everyone's kind of heating up. Bogart's maybe not having the power that he did early on in the season, but he's had great contact hitting. He's starting to rack up the hits again. He's getting hot. And then like, bottom of the lineup, it's like, it's the same guys, but now you've seen Gary Sanchez play well. You've seen a home run from Nelly Cruz. Grisham, Nola, they're not going to bring anything, but Cronenworth has been all right. Kim's been pretty solid. So it's like, the offense has been top heavy at this point, but that's kind of what we expected. And the stars are actually carrying now. So the offense looks a lot better. Also looks a lot better when you look at it from a number standpoint of like, they were like last in the league everywhere, and now they're kind of starting to come back up. And I feel like we should expect that to continue. So overall, I feel like last week or so, it's been very promising regarding this team. And then this weekend, we get a sick matchup where, okay, playing good baseball finally. Can you go and can you take 2 of 3 at home against, a guy who's probably leading the Cy Young race in Shane McClanahan and what is it, Pat Eflin? I want to say, is it Pat? Is his first name? He's putting up a great year as well. I don't know who they're pitching on Sunday yet. Or sorry, Zach Eflin. He has a 3.2 ERA right now. I mean, he's looked really good. 8-2 record. Obviously, the Rays are balling out, so that helps. But you got Darvish, Snell, Musgrove. You got your big 3. And I know he's proven that he's like kind of been in that spot early on, but over the past 3 seasons, that's consistently been the Padres' top 3. So you got those guys, weekend series, primetime matchup, and then you're going to go into a series against the Giants, and you end up taking 2 or 3 in this Rays series. You could leave the end of that Giants series next week above the Giants, and that would be pretty big considering how low this team struggles were early on. So overall, I feel like it's been very, very positive, and I'm happy that we're actually like saying that instead of being like, oh god, the lineup still sucks. Because like all of a sudden that's not even really our topic today. It's just like weathers got sent down, man. So very promising stuff overall, I would say, offensively for this team. And we are going to talk about kind of some trade candidates for the DH spot. You already talked about that a little bit, Chase, but it's just not cutting it. And I mentioned Nelly Cruz at a home run, but like Cruz and Carpenter, that combo at DH has been abysmal. It's been really, really bad. So we'll have an episode on that either tomorrow or Monday. But yeah, anything else you guys are kind of thinking of for this little stretch right here? I mean, I guess mostly the Rays series too, because that's the big one that's starting tonight.
Yeah, this feels like a really big series at this point of the season where the Padres are 2 games under 500, and I mean everyone expects them to be one of the best teams in all of baseball, and they have. I mean, the record doesn't show that up to this point, but their bullpen has been fantastic. Outside of Ryan Weathers, their starting pitchers have been pretty good. Lugo's going to be coming back, so he'll plug into that 5th spot. Hopefully, he does what he was doing earlier this year. The offense finally starting to heat up. In their last 10 games, they've put up 1, 5, 1, 10, 9, 3, 4, 6, 5, and 6. I'd argue that over the past 10 games, they've probably been one of the best offenses in baseball. They've been heating up. So that's a pretty good sign as far as the offense goes. There's only a few weak points that I can think of. And I look at this lineup right now, especially with the addition of Gary Sanchez, and I think it's a much deeper lineup. I'm much more confident in our 5 through 9 than I was 2-3 weeks ago. I mean, yesterday I wasn't as confident in our 5 through 9 just because Sanchez wasn't in the lineup. Cronenworth didn't start the game in the lineup, but overall lately I've been much more confident in the bottom of the lineup to be able to get the job done, and they've been efficient in doing it. I think something that's really helping the Padres right now is they're finally hitting the long ball. Gary Sanchez has been hitting a lot of home runs. Fernando's been doing the same. Manny's been hitting a few. Really all they're missing is just more power from Juan Soto. He's still getting on base a lot. He's cooled off since he got hot, but some power from Juan Soto and even Xander Bogaerts would be really, really nice. And I think that's going to be key to beating the Rays, one of the best teams in all of baseball, if not the best in terms of their record. I believe they already have 50 wins. Wander Franco is doing good. Their pitching staff is one of the best in baseball right now. So it's a big test for the Padres for sure. Big test for the lineup to see how they match up against this type of rotation, this type of pitching staff, and if they're going to be able to keep up with the Rays. Also, definitely a big matchup for our pitching staff. Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, I know, are both going. Is Waka going this series? No, it's Musgrove. Okay, cool. So, well, no, it is top 3. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, definitely big pitching matchups for us, and these are the 3 guys I'd want lined up. And I mean, if we can leave this series at 500, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, I think you at least need to take 2 out of 3. These next 2 series are kind of major for the Padres. One, you got the Rays, and it's like, okay, can you play ball against the top teams in the league? And if you can't, then you're going to have a problem. And the series after this, you got the Giants for 4 games. And you have to switch spots with the Giants at that point. That's your way to make standing. And if you don't do that, you're kind of putting yourself in a deeper hole by losing a series to the Giants and putting yourself further down the standings. I mean, these next 2 series are, I don't want to say vital, but kind of vital to the season. I mean, you got to beat the Rays. You got to prove that you can beat some of the best teams in baseball. I mean, yeah, you really don't have to do it now. I mean, it's more important that you do it in, come October and November. But at the same time, if you can't beat teams in baseball now, you may not make any headway or leeway in the standings. Like, you got to beat these teams.
Yeah, I'm all there, man. And I think it's a good spot because like we're seeing this team heat up, and now they're not in a comfortable spot. They have to win. They have to play really well all the way through the season. And after this little stretch, it's gonna be a couple pretty light weeks, but like you need to get it going now, and you need to then take care of business and start to get a gap on some of these other teams because Padres started out slow, right? A bunch of the other teams did too. Phillies, Cardinals are the big ones in the NL. Phillies have heated up too. Phillies are playing well. They're ahead of the Padres by a game and a half right now in the standings. And then you have some of these other teams like the Marlins have kind of started to cool down. They had a little bit of a losing streak a while back. Same thing with the Giants, the Brewers, stuff like that. But then there's other teams that are heating back up. The Reds have been playing really well. They've looked really good. They won 5 straight, and all of a sudden, like, they're ahead of the Padres right now. So it's not like the Padres just have like, oh, they play pretty well, they'll have a shoe in. All of a sudden, these standings are kind of getting a little bit more interesting because there's a lot of teams in the mix that are within 2-3 games of each other. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think that's probably it for this one. Hopefully tonight's a good game. I mean, a win tonight would be huge, but this is definitely the toughest game of the series. You can lose tonight and still end up winning the next 2 games. Blake Snell, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this earlier. He gets so much shit from the fan base. And if you look at it right now, he has better numbers than Darvish and Musgrove. And if you just listen to people's opinions on Blake Snell, you would not realize that. But he's a sub 4. They're both above 4 right now. So we'll see how it goes with him. But it seems like he's kind of turned the corner, and he's going to be second half Blake Snell that we've seen, because his last 4 outings, he has been spectacular. He's allowed 2 runs in the last 4 outings in I think it's like 18 or I think it's like 22 innings or something. He's been ridiculous. So I think we're going to see a kind of nasty night from Blake Snell on Saturday night. And today's big because we've seen when Darvish gets to go ace versus ace, I feel like that's when he's at his best too. So taking this series 2 out of 3 and then going in and taking 3 out of 4 against the Giants, and then you have that light schedule, we could be feeling a lot different. Now, if that doesn't happen, it's going to be kind of the same disappointment that we've felt overall this season, the first couple months that we've been watching. So I think this is a big stretch right now, and I think we all feel that way. I think anyone listening feels that way as well. So hopefully they get it done, but I think that's probably going to do it. So thank you all for listening. We'll have some stuff about the DH up tomorrow, I want to say, and then we'll do a series recap as well on Sunday night. So I think that's going to do it, though. So thank you all for listening, and hopefully the Padres are able to take 2 out of 3. Let us know your predictions for this Tampa Bay Rays series in the comments and the reviews, wherever that is, but we don't hear what you guys are thinking. So let us know, and hopefully they get it done.